Yeah, I mean, the defense's whole like idea pre-trial was to, in my opinion, use motion hearings as, I'd call them like a speaking motion normally, where that it's a very precise legal term of art, but it kind of means like you're writing an indictment or a motion, but you're really speaking to the public with it. And it's a thing that people do. I mean, it is a thing. A speaking indictment or a speaking motion is a term of art. But for a defendant to do it, and the way that it was done by relying on basically a bootstrapped federal probe that Karen Reed, in my opinion, was able to get going in November of 2022, kind of implying, of course, that this was sort of at issue in the case, the federal probe. And then the most subversive thing I think that happened was really that Reed's lawyers, David Dunetti and Alan Jackson, leaked information about the federal probe to Turtle Boy right around between April 20th and May 3rd of 2023, and then went into court and referred to their own leaks as if they were reported by Turtle Boy. And the reason that's a big deal, of course, is because the rules of professional conduct explicitly prohibit doing that kind of thing. If you can't release something as a lawyer, you can't give it to the press, then come into court and reference the report that you were the source of. And the Commonwealth has actually alleged in one of their filings, I think it was the opposition to the defense's motion to dismiss, the motion was eventually denied. The Commonwealth has asked for a colloquy between Reed and the judge, basically having the judge say to Reed, you're not going to be able to use an ineffective assistance of counsel claim on appeal if your lawyers violated these rules of professional conduct and you knew about it. Which I think goes to the heart of this. Reed didn't have a trial strategy. She had a pre-trial poison the jury strategy through her familial connections to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Unfortunately, Turtle Boy was a wild card in that plan, and it blew a multi-million-dollar, in my opinion, PR and defense apparatus that has connections to Hollywood, ex-federal agents, and all sorts of things. This is a modern black mass by any other name, and we absolutely in time are going to find out that although John O'Keefe's death is central and the most important part of this entire story, what Karen Reed and her family did after Karen Reed was indicted for second-degree murder is probably, in some sense, almost as bad.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
All right. How is everybody? Talking today about Karen Reed and what is becoming a dangerous, and I say that with some sarcasm, dangerous job reporting on this case. And well, what happened was, I'll tell you, am I being sued? I guess that's the first question to ask. So I guess Melanie Little, without ever mentioning my name, but by alluding to me, I just couldn't believe it, was angry because I shared Grant Smith Ellis's video of what he calls his morning press conferences, which means like Karen Reed coming to the courthouse and he asked her questions. And one of the questions he asked was to Alan Jackson, who's Karen Reed's attorney, one of them. Did you go to Mexico or Cancun? I'm not sure which, with Melanie Little. And so Melanie Little spent the last half of her show trying to play that video of Grant Smith Ellis's, but I really showed it the reason I showed it is because of Jonathan Lee Riches, who has JLR Investigates, really harassing Karen Reed and asking her to really call off the dogs, meaning get your supporters to stop harassing witnesses, intimidating witnesses, harassing the victim's family. And this is what we see a lot of DARVO, which is deny, attack, reverse victim offender. And so by also bringing up that video and then talking about doxing by some anonymous person on Twitter, I think she is putting out the idea that I've doxed someone or I approve of doxing, or that through that, I'm really not sure what she's saying. But I do not approve of doxing. I would never support doxing anyone. And if I understand but she never showed the actual tweet itself. It was too disgusting to actually show. So I don't even know if she was really threatened with doxing, meaning showing where you are, showing some kind of personal, for those wondering what it is, showing some kind of personal privacy, some part issues. But my understanding, at least as of the time when I went live today, Grant Smith Ellis is accusing Melanie Little of allegedly, so maybe I'll go back a little bit, allegedly releasing some kind of personal information or court documents about Turtle Boy, Aidan Kearney, the blogger, who has connections to Karen Reed's defense, who has been pushing the narrative that this is some kind of conspiracy all along. He's in his own legal troubles, and they just keep getting deeper and deeper. So he's been arrested for harassing witnesses. He's also has a restraining order against him from an ex-girlfriend, but he's also, this is the new news, being investigated for the most serious kind of SA. I'm sorry I have to talk in riddles on YouTube, but fortunately I do. So meaning, and also possibly sharing some kind of revenge adult material. How about that? It's the best way I can put it. So before I get into why I was talking about Melanie Little is that she had Joseph Scott Morgan on. And they were talking about the autopsy, which, by the way, has not been released to the public. And she, of course, denies. She says, I was using the court documents, but they were clearly looking at pictures. And she's saying that looks like a paw print. That looks like this. That's not in the court documents as far as I know. I haven't seen any attachments like that. I'll apologize if I'm wrong on that. But she denies using the autopsy photos there. But I thought it was really interesting that she had a guest totally unwilling to join in on this conspiracy theory. And this is what we have watched. So people only believe people make opinions from the information that they have. So if you have a lot of information in the beginning of this, that the cops are under investigation, then you find out that's an investigation that so far an internal investigation into Michael Proctor, the cop, and that's being alleged to have been started by Karen Reed. Same thing also with the FBI investigation, also alleged to have been started by Karen Reed's defense. So it sounds very good. And that is how all innocence fraud campaigns work. They make things look like something else. So it only really works on the surface if you kind of have surface knowledge. And then once you get into the documents, it all kind of falls apart. And that's what I saw on Friday. So the defense team was not very together. They didn't have the addresses and full addresses of their witnesses. Their witnesses in accident reconstruction don't have their own reports. I mean, we can look at a really good summation. I have a lot of fun videos to watch today, mainly of, I think I'm addicted to Boundless Millennial, and my apologies. I think I called them Roaming Millennial or Roving. I'm sorry. Sorry, Wolfgang Bodie. I'm like addicted to his videos. I think they're so funny about this case. So we have some of that. So it's not all gloom and doom here today. But let's start off with, so this was the video I played that really made Melanie Littles and her crew angry, because not only now they're threatening, they're saying they're reporting all of my videos. Let me show you a screenshot of that. And they won't use my name, apparently. Apparently, you get booted if you use my name in the chat. I know this. I've owned this on good authority that if you mention my name, you get booted. A certain creator has every stream reported. I also noticed that Murder by Maestro isn't here anymore. LOL. So that's my mod, Murder by Maestro. Shout out to my moderators, Tammie, Murder by Maestro, Society page. Thank you so much for moderating this chat. So they're going to report my videos, hoping to get them demonetized, hoping to get some kind of strike on my channel, I guess. So far, they've been unsuccessful. But when you get those kind of mass flags, often you get your videos get put in the yellow, is my understanding, but I may be wrong on that. And Karen Reed is now selling popcorn. Also, we'll go through all the points of business today. Selling popcorn at her trial. And we thought she couldn't get tackier. And they're also Melanie Little. So I said yesterday that I thought it was really inappropriate that Karen Reed wore thigh-high boots, this outfit, to court. And I'm getting comments like, you're so jealous. You just couldn't pull off that outfit. I wouldn't wear that outfit to court, is my point. And I thought it was a distraction technique. And I said so to make everyone talk about her outfit. And that obviously worked because I was talking about it. So funny. So let's start off with the video this is the video I think, this is in my opinion, the video that I played from Boundless Millennial that made Melanie Little so angry. Let's take a look.
Things I really can't stand are liars and liars that get mad when you call them out for being a liar. In the beginning, I, like a lot of people, giving Melanie Little the benefit of the doubt.
I'm a conspiracy theorist.
We all just thought she might not be the brightest crayon in the box. We now see that there's an extreme lack of integrity here. She had a forensic pathologist on her show the other night, and he was giving his assessment of autopsy photos. Oh, in all my years, I never seen anything that looks like this. Bruh, she's not even a criminal attorney. All your years in civil court? That's like pretending to be a business consultant when you're a cashier at Walmart. And this expert was trying so hard to give his opinion without making you look dumb.
Looks like a paw print bruise to me. I mean, tell me if I'm crazy.
No, it's not.
There would be evidence of that on his clothing. There would be grease. There would be oil. There would be remnants from the car. There would be debris.
Selective amnesia? You know that taillight fragments were found in his shirt. She is lying.
Okay, so that's what I think. I think those two things and Grant Smith Ellis's morning press conference video, which I opened with, and I also played in its entirety in the day before. Apparently, she's never heard of me, but she read the whole thing about defamation. But if you're really planning on doing a defamation lawsuit, it's against your best interest to create a whole show based on it. And Wolfgang Bodie is right. She is a civil attorney, but she's been working as an actress for pretty much over a decade, I believe, close to a decade. Let's look at, I thought we could look at some of her. Hold on one sec. Look at some of her acting reels together. Wait, hold on one second.
You're turning this around on me?
I'm not turning around anything, Harvey. But you don't know what it's like to have a child who acts like you don't exist.
You don't know what it's like to have a mother who asks you to lie to his father for her.
Harvey, I never should have done that. And I've been trying to apologize to you for the last 20 years. But until yesterday, you made it clear that you didn't care whether I lived or died.
That's because I didn't.
Can you see how that might devastate a person?
I understand that this was a mistake because you're the same selfish, self-centered, disloyal woman that you always were.
And you are the same self-absorbed, childish man you always were.
Yeah, well, whose fault is that?
Here you go. Leave. So you always do best.
Okay, so that's one of them. She's got quite a few up here. Hold on. Oh, let me share this. Hold on one second. You're not looking at what I'm looking at. Hold on one second, please. So funny. That happens. Okay. So this is called Real Estate Broker Questioned by Detectives. Procedural. It's another performance video. Wait.
Rentals on the project by the Navy Yard?
Yes, I am. You interested?
Not sure I can manage the down payment.
Maybe we could work something out.
Have you spent any time on the Ivory Coast, Miss Sykes?
Yes, I've been there. I've been to a lot of countries in Africa since I started working with the Save the Lions Foundation. I'm a Leo.
A kid from the Ivory Coast named Didier says he knows you.
I know Didier, sure.
How do you know him?
I met him when I was over there. He tried to sell me a carving, had those gorgeous eyes I could not stop looking at. So one thing led to another. We actually stayed in touch for a while.
When's the last time you saw him?
Oh, it's been years.
He says he's been in touch with you recently.
He must have had a dream. Africans have a hard time distinguishing dreams from reality.
That's very lustig, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They say he's going to transform East New York.
If all goes according to plan, he absolutely will.
Okay. So you see a lot of that kind of same expression in while she's watching this watching these hearings and stuff. So thought that was fun. A fun share. And, she's so horrified by all this corruption. But like I said on Friday, pretty much we found out that Brian Higgins didn't destroy his phones. It was allowed, right? It was allowed after they basically lost the motion. Actually, let's look at, let's look at Boundless Millennials video. This is his wrap up. I thought this was excellent of the hearing.
Reed is being framed. We have to.
Oh, wait, sorry. Not the right one. Do I have the right one? Hold on one second. This really actually made me laugh though. Let's watch this one together. But he had a really good summation. Basically, like we all thought that Brian Higgins his phone was going to get his phone had been destroyed. That was the best thing they had as far as conspiracy. That turned out to be totally untrue. After he lost the motion, the judge was like, excuse me. I don't think they used the word destroyed. He just was told he no longer had to keep it. Then we have the 227, how long in the cold lookup, that was when the browser was open and that it was really that search was done in 6:23, 6:24 in the morning. Then, what else? Then we have their big fight in Aruba We have something like 1 million witnesses, it feels like, for the prosecution. Tons of her own statements coming in, her story changing. I mean, it's all kind of collapsed for Karen Read. And people are waking up. But, I've been thinking a lot. I was watching the Heaven's Gate documentary on HBO. Has anyone watched that? It's awesome. But do you know that there are still people who believe in Heaven's Gate? There's one guy who's still holding on to the Heaven's Gate beliefs. And and his girlfriend is a new member from a new devotee, let's say. I don't think you can really be a member anymore, but a new devotee from the documentary. So much of what we believe sometimes, when there's not a lot of evidence, is because we want to believe. We want to believe something and we hold on to it. And I would not want to try to convince those people to leave their Heaven's Gate beliefs. And you know how it ended for them. But let's just take a look. Let's take a look at Wolfgang Bode's summation of the whole conspiracy against Karen Read. Let me see if I can start from the beginning. This is really short. Thanks, Kayce. You don't do research. Melanie does research. Thanks, Kayce, for the $1.99. Appreciate it.
Read is being framed. We have to help her. She's being framed for the unaliving of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. His body was found in a very light snowfall. Probably the least amount of snow they've ever had in a snowstorm ever in Canton, Massachusetts. It was found on the lawn of another police officer, Brian Albert, who's a known ultimate championship fighter. Barely he beat this guy up and threw him on the front lawn, still alive, in the hopes that he would expire by the time his girlfriend came back to find him. Brian Albert's brother and nephew lived a few doors down from John O'Keefe, and they called him Nevercracker because he was a cranky old get-off-your-lawn guy. They wanted to take care of Nevercracker for good. Brian Albert, being a police officer himself, knew it was best to do this in his home in front of 8 witnesses. They just had to say everything inside the house. And they all attacked him. Even the dog jumped in.
Even the dog, because as a police officer thought that was a great point. Police officer thought that the best time to do something like this was in front of 8 witnesses in his home, and then throw it out somehow magically without leaving any kind of evidence that it happened, and only kind of evidence that that John O'Keefe got hit by a car. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, we're getting into loony Heaven's Gate conspiracies here. Seriously. Seriously. Kathy Chafin, thanks for searching for the truth, Roberta. You're welcome, Kathy. I mean, we can go through, if you want to go through the I've had the court documents pulled up if you want to go through those together. But it is damning. And it looks like their defense, what is their defense going to be? Everybody's shadowy. Everyone hated Karen Read so much. Everyone wanted to frame the finance teacher, the out-of-work finance teacher, I guess. I don't think she was working at the time. What's the motivation? And everybody didn't like, all of a sudden, this 17-year-old kid didn't like to be told to get off my lawn. What are we talking about here? Here's another fun one.
Morning, Karen.
Hi, David. What's up?
So this is Karen from True Crime and Wine. They did this together. She plays Karen Read. This is a docu-series that they did together.
It's a good time. I have some good news about the case.
Oh, yeah?
So, I just got out of a meeting with a PI named Stephen Scanlon, the guy that messaged you on Facebook. And I gave him a check for $1,500, and I think he's in.
So wow, it sounds like he had some good information.
Well, no, not exactly. But there is some good information if you read between the lines and twist it a little bit.
Wait, you mean like lie to the court?
I wouldn't exactly call it lying. We are just presenting a set of alternative facts.
We're not going with the, hold on, I just need a sec. We're not going with the terrible accident.
I will tell you that my client has no criminal intent. She loved this man.
Oh, by the way, I'm wearing the shirt you got me. Isn't that cute? Isn't it happy hour anytime? Yeah, no, so fill me in.
Look, it's been a year. Nobody remembers it was a bomb cyclone that day, right?
And actually have it push you back. And I weigh about 200 pounds, so to have that happen, you know it's intense.
So we are just gonna say it was barely snowing, just some flurries.
This is a nor'easter like no other right now.
And where the taillight cut him up?
We're just gonna say it was some flurries, just some flurries, just only like the worst storm they had, practically in for forever there. We're just gonna say it was just like a little flurries there, and everybody should have seen him on the in this like extremely obscure location where he was, and we're gonna ignore all of Karen Reed's own statements. I didn't make it. I made a 3-point turn. I didn't make a 3-point turn.
We're gonna say those are dog bites.
Oh my God, what? Nobody is going to believe that, David.
Listen, this guy's Scanlon. He knows Brian Albert. They were boxes together or something.
Seriously, should I just flee the country? I don't even know at this point.
Karen, listen. John had 2 black eyes. It looks like he went 3 rounds with Mike Tyson.
David, those are from a skull fracture, not a punch.
We are going to say
what am I paying
Steve
you to
Scanlon
do?
came to us with insider information that he knew there was a fight inside that house.
Fine, but did he say that?
Karen, please, shh. Do you know Turtle Boy?
Oh God, I know him. Yeah, he's trash. He writes blogs about people, right? Whether it's true or not. Gets paid. Fills them with lies for views, clicks, and money. I mean, what's your point?
Nobody wants to fuck a cat. People will fuck a dog because we doggy style. It's the most popular, it's the most American thing you could do.
Yes, that is the guy.
I mean, that's really not on brand. I'm a college professor, class, sass, and ass. You know, do we really want to be involved with him? I don't know.
Karen, look, he's not a real journalist. No real journalist would do this, so he's our only option.
Really? We're gonna do Turtle Boy. Okay, I mean, I'm just saying.
We just have to figure out how to pay him.
I mean, I already drained my 401k, so like, how are we gonna pay this guy?
I love Wolfgang Bodie as David Yannetti in this. Karen is excellent as Karen Reed too. You can see her. I've already drained my 401. How am I going to pay for this? So the allegation is that, of course, that Turtle Boy is driving a Lexus, which is so interesting because that's the car Karen Reed drives.
Well, maybe you...
Or drove that night, right? Do we need to look at her Lexus? Hold on one second. Do I still have it? Hold on. Yeah, we'll take just a look. So it's on the right, a Lexus 570. I don't know what Turtle Boy is driving, but people noted his reversal of fortune as far as cars.
Can pay him in other ways.
Pay him in other ways? What do you mean? No, even I have my limits. You know that, David.
All right.
It's no badge, no badge.
Okay, bad idea. Well, let's see what your brother can do about a Lexus.
David, he can't give away cars. What are you talking about?
But he probably can get a really good deal. Am I right?
I guess.
So we will basically feed Turtle Boy this information so he can get this theory out into the public.
As long as I don't have to touch him.
Karen,
I'm not touching
listen,
him.
this is what we're going to say. We're going to say, you dropped him off. You saw him walk up to the door. And just as he got to the door, you looked down at your phone. Okay, so you never saw him walk inside the house. Comprende?
Right, but she also never not saw him walk inside the house. See, that leaves it open. He could have been inside the house. He could have wandered off to get hit by a snowplow, which is what she asked her friend. Maybe he got hit by a snowplow. Strangely, Karen Reed that morning is wondering about whether John O'Keefe got hit by a snowplow. So, this is very regular defense tactics to kind of leave it open with these vague stories, which I pointed out before I really knew a lot about this case. I found that the weirdest detail, that right at the crucial moment you're looking at your phone. When even a cab driver, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, even a cab driver, right? Make sure that I'm okay when he drops me off and I'm a stranger.
Wait.
It's supposed to be the love of your, or at least the love of the last 2 years, your boyfriend, even if you are on the rocks. Wouldn't you want to make sure he got in okay?
So I'm changing my story again?
Karen, no! You're not changing your story. You are changing your story, but no one's gonna know. Turtle Boy has like a cult following. Whatever he says goes. Doesn't matter. You could say that you're the Queen of England and they'd believe it.
I mean, but are these people going to be on the jury? Like, I don't want a jury filled with the Hills Have Eyes people.
It's obvious from all the evidence. It's horrible. She didn't do it. The truth needs to come out.
Bingo. We will not be going to a jury trial. We will be getting this thrown out before the trial.
No jury? Oh,
nope.
I like how that sounds. Tell me more.
Turtle Boy is like a rabid pit bull with a venereal disease that just won't go away. Once he latches onto something, he won't let go. And no matter what happens, he will keep coming back.
I can get revenge on all of John's friends that I never liked anyway. Ooh.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, then go ahead.
I see where you're going with this. I'm really not a fan of him. I'm really not. But I like seeing people suffer. I am a huge fan of that.
Okay, so now we're gonna say he walked into the house and immediately his friend started beating him.
Okay, so speaking of pit bulls, what about the dog bites? Where are we going with that?
And the dog naturally wants to protect its owner, so the dog bites.
The dog bites. So I just thought that was extremely funny. And where do they dream up this defense? And so they have 45 minutes on Monday, each, defense and Commonwealth. See, Kayce, you're just being mean. Melanie is passionate. Well, being mean, I think, is making allegations. I don't know. Making allegations about me doxing people and saying that I'm defaming her for doing things she clearly did on her show. The episode's still up. So I don't know. Threatening me. Thanks, Psych Nurse. Nice to see you. Thanks for the super sticker. So that is kind of the way it went. This is like, what I'm noticing is if you are supporting Karen Reed, you're also supporting a side that is attacking the victim's family, intimidating witnesses. I don't think we've ever seen a campaign as feral as this. And when you point out their misbehavior, they immediately reverse it and put it on you. That everybody is so horrible. It's really the essence of Karen Reed's defense. I'm the victim of some kind of conspiracy. The police are so terrible with no proof, and punishing them using her resources. If that is true, if that's alleged to have happened, that she had connections to get that FBI investigation going and connections to get this internal affairs investigation ongoing on Proctor. What did they come up with? Nothing. What they agree with the state. And that was also a big crumbling of her defense, is that the FBI agrees with the state in the manner of John O'Keefe's demise. The only thing they differ with is something to do with the back of the head that the Commonwealth isn't even arguing. So what are we talking about here? Karen Reed supporters, what are you basing this on? Because the defense isn't arguing dog anymore. So what do we have left? I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, I can talk a little bit more about what is left for Karen Reed. Monday, this trial starts Monday at 10. Take a 36-second break. Don't go anywhere. If you are enjoying this episode of my True Crime Report, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode. Get access to exclusive podcasts and other bonus content by becoming a patron today. If you have a question or comment for me, shoot me a super chat and I'll do my best to answer it and read it on air. Thanks so much. Now back to the show. Coloring says, I'm basing it on innocent until proven guilty. So that is for a court of law, right? So the Karen Reed supporters aren't saying that she could be proven guilty. They're saying innocent until proven innocent, and innocent is the only option. So anyone's allowed to have an opinion about a court case before the trial based on what they've heard in hearings, based on the filings. So we're not held to the same standards as the jury. And even the jury can come in and have an opinion. It just can't be immovable. I mean, it's rare that you get someone with who's going to get on a jury and say, I think she's guilty, but it could be possible. I mean, you just can't be married to the idea. You have to agree to look at all the evidence with an open mind. So it's just really interesting that this side of the aisle is always being accused of bias, and it doesn't really work for the other side. We're the only ones who are biased. So I don't know. Are you guys interested in I don't know how interesting Melanie Little's actual presentation of pro se defamation is. Are you guys interested in it? I'll play a little of it if you're interested. Right. Here, Lolly 77 says, having an opinion is not the same as a conviction. Right. We don't have any power. My opinion doesn't really have much power. Obviously, if there's still people in here saying Karen Reed is guilty, I can only tell you how I'm feeling looking at the available evidence. It would be really cool. The defense had some stunning defense that turned me all around, and I discovered something really unusual, learned something really new and unusual. But I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen any kind of a credible defense argument. All right. So I guess we'll play a little of it.
To destroy any, I don't know, what?
Oh, wait, how do we get so far?
Impugning, harassing, or defaming resides is going to be the law that governs, because for those of you, some of whom may be defaming people on social media who claim to be in law school, you might want to pay a little bit of attention in torts class. So torts is a thing. Defamation is a tort. And in New York, defamation is defined as a false statement published to third parties that exposes a person or entity to hatred, contempt, aversion, or to induce an unsavory opinion in the minds of members of the community. The heart of
Right. We just showed your own show where the expert totally disagreed with you. And you were making comments like, this is the I've never in all my days seen something like this, as if you were a criminal lawyer when you're a civil attorney. And I would believe you would have to be practicing, no? To ruin your career, your legal career. Is that what you're saying? I don't know what kind of legal career she's had in the past decades. I just don't know. I don't know a lot about her.
Valid claim for defamation in New York hinges on whether or not the statement caused damage to the subject's reputation.
I'm just assuming that if you had a really pop-in legal career, you wouldn't be on YouTube. If you would be in court practicing civil law.
Okay. Therefore, there are certain things that are called per se defamation, which automatically qualify as defamation. And they are statements charging a plaintiff with a serious crime, statements that tend to injure another in their trade, business, or profession, statements imputing a loathsome disease on a plaintiff, and statements impugning unchastity or imputing unchastity on a woman, like cheating on her husband or something such as like that. That's per se defamation in New York. So you don't have to prove any injury. All you have to do is prove that the statement was made. See? That's
Really? Because I didn't get that out of what Grant Smith Ellis said. Maybe I'm the most naive person in the world. I just assumed they were hanging out. He was saying they were hanging out in Mexico. I didn't get a fare from that, but okay. That allegation, that the allegation really is that you have some connection to the defense.
That's how it works. Reputational harm will be presumed if you, let's say, accuse a woman or go on camera and say something about a woman that imputes unchastity to her. So here's what you need to prove defamation in New York. You need to prove that the defendant made a false statement. You need to prove that that statement was published to a third party without authorization or putting it out there on the internet. You need to show that the defendant was at least negligent when making the statement. And you need to show that the statement caused special harm or constituted defamation per se. And when you are going to defame someone who actually has a profession or a license, and you are going to tell your minions to go after them and come after their license.
Wait, do you have a license or a profession? I see that as two very different things. Having you can have a license to do something and not use it, and have a profession where you use that license. So does she have a profession? So she said, I have a profession, and then she corrected herself and said, no, I have a license. All this just reminds me of her acting reel. That's all I can say. She's never made fun of anyone. It's an opinion. That's not my understanding what she's doing with Turtle Boy's victim. Kayce, but thank you.
That's defamation per se, my friends. And it's not really a very high bar to prove it. So we're going to take a look at some things, and you're going to tell me whether you think the elements of defamation are made here. Okay. So here's what we're going to look at. Hang on one second. And then you do not want to go to court in New York. Promise you. Yeah, promise you. Very
right. We're both in New York. That's what we have in common. We're both in New York. Okay.
Very defamation law for dummies. Yeah. So here's an example. Let's take a look at this first. And I'm hoping the audio works on this, because this is classic. I don't know this person personally. I've never really watched any content that this person has ever created, but one of you was kind enough to share this with me. And so I want you to listen to this.
So I'm this person. I'm this person, right? That's me. That's me. So don't mention, don't drive traffic. Don't mention of my name. Funny. Because she's very familiar with Grant. She's let that be known.
And tell me if you think that this meets one of those definitions that we just looked at of per se defamation. Let's take a look or a listen to this. Let me know if you can hear it.
No, Melanie, we can't hear it. We can't hear it. I think she was sharing this on Grant's Twitter. So that, but go back, you can go back to my other episode. I played the whole thing. I don't know if you guys want to watch that again, but so I don't know. This is so tiresome. I really don't have a lot to say about it. So that other than I don't think you're understanding. I guess I'll go to court with what? These are the people she named. Karen, True Crime and Wine. I hope I can go to court with Wolfgang Bodie because he makes me laugh so much. Grant Smith Ellis, who I enjoy very much. I guess she's taking all of us to court or threatening to over this per se defamation. So yeah. So she tried to play this video. She plays it later. And it's just basically Grant asking, were you in Cancun with Melanie Little? And, she was on Twitter, or, her named account was on Twitter. It gets all like it goes into crazy land. She's being accused of having a sock puppet account that's releasing information. Oh, I'm sure I will be doing updates should this drama. But hey, Manny, how's it going? Nice to see you. This other person's true crime report. Yeah, that's what I should name it, right? This other person's true crime report. Welcome from an undisclosed location. But I just was going to keep it kind of brief today. This is seriously, as we're waiting trial, not much going on, but thought I'd give you a little idea of what I've been doing, which has been binge watching, reading the documents, reading the Commonwealth's filings, which are also bad for Karen Reed. Let's see how it goes. She's definitely, the Commonwealth is definitely outmoneyed. And we've seen these kind of things done on the court where the defense team just does a little razzle dazzle on the jury, and she may get acquitted. The dog did it, right? Hey, Maddie, the dog did it. It's like, this is the third case where an animal's been blamed. West Memphis 3, turtles were blamed. Staircase, Kathleen Peterson, Al was blamed. Now we have a dog. How many more animals can be blamed for these kind of crimes? That's what I'm wondering. So I just thought I'd end with this for today because I thought it was fun. I mean, I just thought these videos were fun, and I thought we needed a little fun before Monday starts with the opening statements. I think this is an extremely interesting case. It's one of the cases, I don't know if I've ever done a case. It really reminds me of Amanda Knox with this much evidence against a person. And so much circumstantial evidence, so much witnesses, so many own statements. Let's look a little bit again at her own statement, shall we? Before I play this. So John is I guess I'll say unalived before. Okay. She said he's dead before finding John. I hit him. It was a tragic accident. That's what David Yannetti was arguing for her. I only had 4 drinks when she's on camera, drinking 9, being served 9. They asked her if she was overserved that night. She said no. I don't believe the Commonwealth is saying I wasn't in my right mind, which I thought was such an interesting answer. So they asked her if she was drunk that night. It's almost like she's saying, I was drunk, but still in my right mind. Odd. I dropped him off and made a 3-point turn. I dropped him off, looked down at my phone, and saw him at the door. I never made a 3-point turn. I dropped him off. He changed his mind, and I clipped him. What I thought could have happened was, did I incapacitate him and him unwittingly, and in his drunkenness passed out? So she's saying, she's basically blaming him for clipping him, and then it's his own fault the way he ended up because he was so drunk. That's a lot of victim blaming there. It's not possible that I hit John unwittingly. I dropped him off. He ran up to the house and entered through the door to the breezeway. I marshaled every resource to get to the truth. I love the way she says that. John apologized profusely after our vacation argument when I said F you to his friend who hugged him at the bottom of the elevator. John did not come back to the room that night. John never stayed out all night without me. I was the only one trying to save John's life. I last saw John at the Waterfall. So the Waterfall's a bar, for those who don't know. Colin and Brian Albert beat John. My taillight is smashed and John's was pulverized. I said, I hit him. It was preceded by a did and proceeded by a question mark. This is my fault. I can't believe this happened. And then Brian Higgins did it. So that's where we're at now. I mean, I don't see so many comments, at least not in my comment section, saying that the Alberts did it. Colin, the 17-year-old, and Brian Albert, the fighter. But let's take a look, final look for the night. Again, this is Boundless Millennial. The links are in the description of this video. Such a fan of his work. Let's check it out.
See theory at this point.
It's a Soprano family? Yeah, they killed him and they put him in the front lawn. What's so hard to understand about that?
They're basically like cult members. The defense has been able to use social media to push out their story, their supposition, and suppress the facts of the case.
And then made several statements to her indicating, I hit him.
And make a hero out of a murder suspect.
It's windy, so I drop him off. He goes up the driveway and approaches the side door. And as I see him approach the door, I look down at my phone.
No matter what fact or detail comes out, they're gonna say it's part of the conspiracy.
Terry ran him over.
I know you keep saying that, but you don't have any evidence of that.
You know what I'm thinking of looking at this is the Ash experiment. Does anyone know about the Ash experiment, psychological experiment? So there was an experiment and there was only one volunteer who wasn't in on the experiment. So everybody else was in on an experiment. So they put these lines down on the floor and they asked the group, and everyone had to answer in order, right? Like in order, meaning one after another. How big, what was the shortest line? And everyone answered 2, right? Everyone agreed. Second answer, same thing. They'd say this, what was the second to shortest or whatever. Everyone had the same answer. But on the third answer, they purposely, the people in front of the volunteer, changed their answer so it would be wrong. And what they watched was that almost, I think it was like something like 80% of the people would answer incorrectly just to fit in with the group. And so that's why you have these kind of sock puppets, mass things to show mass support. It's been alleged that she's hired people to stand outside the courtroom with signs so that, because human beings are social animals, we like to be in a group, we like to fit in, we like to be among people who agree with us, that we're going to feel that something is wrong with our opinion, that everyone sees that. See, everyone sees that this is a conspiracy and that she's innocent, even if there's no evidence for it. Very much like the Ash experiment, conformity experiment with the lines. So pretty interestingly done. And that's how so many innocence fraud campaigns are done.
Because that's the fucking truth.
Says she watched him go to the door, put his head inside, then nothing.
They're able to intimidate witnesses without technically intimidating witnesses.
How you got me number? You're a creep.
They're able to spread misinformation.
Didn't see him go in the house because he ran. Because it was real quick. Because he ran because it was cold out.
He must have ran real fast.
My client has no criminal intent. She loved this man. She is devastated at what happened.
Karen, that makes sense to a lot of people. What doesn't make sense to anyone
that does not make sense.
Party, but never saw him walk inside.
Because he's dead.
One more week until she faces a jury in the murder of John O'Keefe. Now, over the past year, we have seen one of the ugliest acts of any murder defendant I think I've ever seen. They use social media influencers, award-winning journalists.
Right. That's the other thing that Melanie Little did, said, I know someone can find their about these people. So basically it sounded like, to my ear, that she was encouraging her audience to dox people, these people on Twitter who are alleging that she's someone else. It gets so crazy. I can't even, I sound like a crazy person talking about it. That's how crazy it's gotten. I feel like a crazy person talking about how many people Melanie Little called out and has issues with and is threatening. And that's the other thing, that it's just very much like the Karen Reed technique itself, is to sort of threaten so everybody will be quiet and stop talking, right? Might makes right kind of approach.
It was broken the case of the Fupa Slug panhandler at the Burlington Mall, who has a plethora of articles using fupa as an adjective, because the fat upper P area on women is a big story that award-winning journalists are covering. This isn't journalism. This is straight up bullying and harassment. And his minions just take it upon themselves to harass anyone that he directs one of his blogs at. And in this case, in the Karen Reed case...
So Kayce is back. Thanks, Kayce. You tried to listen, no facts. I think you mean no facts that you like. No facts that I agree with. Right? So we're talking about the 227 phone search. So we're going to hear from the Cellbrite expert, very interesting, from Canada, about how Jennifer McCabe opened up her browser at 227 and really didn't do that search till 623 and 624. I hope I'm not turning around those numbers.
Since she's claiming that literally everyone in the state of Massachusetts, the National Guard, medical examiners, the Canton Police Department, state police, literally everyone should be attacked. So the Turtle Riders, I mean, that's their favorite thing to do, is hate people. Have been in full throttle this entire year, implicating innocent people, harassing people, spreading lies on the internet. But I think it's quite clear that Turtle Boy knew that he was lying from the very beginning. I mean, we've seen the text where he's arguing about the 2:27 a.m. Google search and how Lucky Loughran not seeing the body there doesn't make any sense, right? Karen's coming back with, oh, we had.
So Laughrin is the plow driver. But you have to remember, it was just a little light. It was just some light flurries, guys. Not the nor'easter, not a massive snowstorm. And he was also, let's see if I can pull it up. Do I still have a picture? It's like in an area, not an obvious area if it's dark and snowy. And we know that one of the guests did see something, but just didn't connect it to John, it being something serious.
They had to figure out how they were going to kill him. This whole conspiracy theory has been madness from the beginning. Like, why are people believing this? I initially saw the articles from Turtle Boy and I got sucked into it and I was like, oh my God, this person's being framed. And I read a bunch of his articles and thought that I had the facts and made a few videos about it. And then I got access to the probable cause affidavit. And boy, was I surprised because the way that it was described to me through the articles that Turtle Boy had written was that it was Jennifer McCabe orchestrated this whole thing. She's the one that did the Google search. She's the one that gave all the statements about Karen Read saying, I hit him. You know, I had no idea that there was like all these other witnesses, including the victim's niece, including first responders at the scene, including, you know, medical personnel, emergency room staff. And like, I was just like, wow. I mean, that was my first inkling.
Right. We're talking about 90 people, and of which Karen Read, and all these statements are coming in. Karen Read's statements at the blood draw. Karen Read's statements to Jennifer McCabe. Karen Read's statements. I mean, how many? Karen Read's statements to Carrie Roberts. Karen Read's statements to the press, to the interviews that she did, Nightline, et cetera, et cetera. It's all coming in. This is what I think is going to bring her down. That, and that you can't make a cohesive defense argument about what happened that's better than and more logical and more reasonable and more probable. Everything that the defense has put out is so improbable and unlikely and sounds like it happened on planet Mars and not planet Earth.
That maybe this really isn't a cover-up. And I mean, the Google search statement that they made, I think, is a very strong argument. But as soon as you kind of look into like what a DB wall file and how timestamps from DB wall files have never been used in any case ever because they're not reliable, once that piece of evidence is put into question, the entire thing falls apart because
Pourteau says, you should be so flattered, Roberta. That Reed's team wants to bully you. It's what they do. You know, it's funny though, this is not my first time with being bullied. This is not my first time. I have had so many unpopular opinions. What I think William Ramsey describes it best as like a tsunami. Like you're just trying to hold the wall back, a tsunami of angry people at you. So, you know, I think they forget.
I know how to win the hard way.
Thank you, Joan.
Nothing else adds up. I mean, Jen McKay brainwashed her into thinking that she hit him. Like, that is just insanity, first of all. Karen Read went around saying, I hit him. You know, nobody made her do it. She thought she hit him. Her attorney thought she hit him. They thought that for a year, right? Until all of a sudden they come up with this conspiracy theory. You know, they say that Scanlon came and dropped a dime on the Alberts and said that there was a fight inside the house. But then we heard Turtle Boy's recording where Scanlon is like, who's calling Albert? What are you talking about? So we know that was a crock of shit.
How did you know Colin Albert was in the house?
Who?
How did you know Colin Albert was in the house?
Probably through you. I don't even know Colin Albert.
So that whole thing is out. So no one dropped a dime. No one said there was a fight in the house. Like, that's all bullshit.
That's what it is. It's like, so that's out. That's BS. That's BS. That's BS. This is how it has gone. It's all dwindled down to straight from the mind of Aidan Kearney or the defense. That's what Karen Reed. That's how it ends for Karen Reed. I really think it's going to end with her in handcuffs being walked off to prison, but you never know. You never know which way a jury will go. It's a fool's game predicting a jury.
Okay. And then the dog bites. And I never looked at that and was like, yeah, that's definitely dog bites. I kind of questioned it, but as soon as you look a little closer, it doesn't make any sense. It looks mechanical. It looks like motion. And the fact that just one side of his no other explanation for how half of his body is scraped up like that. You know, people are saying, oh, it's inconsistent because there's no lower extremity damage. She just sideswiped him, which, because the arm scraped up, that looks like what happened. She hit him from behind along his arm. When people get hit when they're walking, they rotate into the car. So the car like spins them into it, and that's how you smash your head. And then your secondary injuries are when you hit the ground, the frozen ground. So we don't know if he landed on his face or right side up, if he was able to flip over on his back, which that's...
All right, this is just making me extremely uncomfortable.
Even drive by the library. She wasn't going down Washington.
Okay, we'll hear from the medical examiner, and I think it's probably, we don't really know yet. And I'm going to be curious to hear what the defense is not accident reconstructionists. So they're not really accident reconstructionists. They have to be voir dired, was my understanding. Let me know if you have a different understanding with the judge's ruling on that before they can testify. If they really are accident specialists, they don't have their own report. That's what I heard. Let me know if you heard something different.
Street. Washington Street is where the bars were located, but it wasn't on the way to John O'Keefe's house. So them asking for the Canton Library footage, it's a joke. It's to deceive and to make things look suspicious. And they've been doing it for a year now, and it's time that people wake the hell up. She's going to trial. There's a mountain of evidence. She pulled over in that park. Another big thing is 1241. Almost every creator, when they create a timeline, they're saying, oh, she was home at 1241. We know this because, how do we know that?
Can I get a job as the public defender of the Boston accent? It is like ASMR to me. I love it. I could listen to it all day. I find it so pleasing to the ear. The park, I love it. Love it. It's certainly prettier than the New York accent.
Yes, right? First of all, we don't know this. The reason that everyone thinks this is because Yannetti said it in court one time saying, oh, she left a voicemail and we could hear the garage door closing and her feet and her high heels walking on the garage floor. That's how we know that she was home at 1241. They had her phone the whole time, and he wasn't like, we know she was home because that's when her phone shows that she was at John O'Keefe's house. No, he didn't even say that. We're supposed to rely on him to tell the truth. With her cell phone data at their disposal, they could have been like, we know she was home at 1241 because her phone shows that she...
Are you guys listening? We know that she was home because we heard the garage door in the back. That's what they have? I mean, in this day and age, they have her keys when she basically turned on and turned off her car. They basically can track your car, track your phone, track everything in this day and age. Unfortunately, it's been alleged that she erased the Ring camera from John O'Keefe's home outside that, so we may not be able to see that, but so much of her movements are tracked. That and her own statements thinks is going to be very damning, and I think it's going to be very hard if you're not going to prove that John O'Keefe met an end in a different way. If you have something, all I hear is that they're going to just try to basically allege corruption which may be good. I mean, our media is very, very, they love stories like anti-cop stories. They don't seem to, they seem to run with much less, those kind of stories on much less, but I don't know.
Back to John O'Keefe's house at 12:21. But no, instead they're going to say, oh, because we heard a voicemail when the garage door was closing and all this shit. Like, are you people stupid? So every creator that I see that has made a timeline where they say, oh, 12:41, she was definitely home because Yannetti said so. This guy's been lying through his teeth the whole time. Just like Scanlon named Colin Albert when he doesn't even know who the fuck Colin Albert is. I mean, Jesus, people. We don't know the timeline, but we know that it's favorable for Karen if they can say that she's home at 12:41 for whatever reason. But the fact is, his last steps were at 12:30. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's when things went down, right? And then a lot of people are saying like, oh, right when Ryan Nagel and the friends were in the car, that's when she hit him. People are purposely saying this dumb shit. Obviously.
Yeah, let's talk about Ryan Nagel, who saw her behind the wheel and didn't see John O'Keefe there. So he's at the driveway in his car. Let me see. Tuesday Gazette did a good picture. So this is not accurate as far as the color of the car. She just made these colors so you could see it. But he sees Karen Reed behind the wheel, no John O'Keefe in the passenger seat, with her hands at 10 and 2. Did I get rid of it? I hope I didn't. I might have. No, I still have it. So here's Nagel's truck. And we know Karen's car wasn't yellow. Please don't come at me. These colors, once again, for those in the back, are not accurate. And he sees her with her hands on behind the wheel. And then she's seen making a 3-point turn. Oh, it's bad. It's bad for her. All bad. Do you guys have any questions? I think we're getting to the end of this, but
he didn't get out of the car until after Ryan Nagel was gone. People are just so committed to this conspiracy that they say the dumbest shit. I thought they were actually after the truth, but, you know, to be honest, I think that the majority of true crime creators are just after the conspiracy. They're not after any truth. They're after clicks and likes, and they don't give a shit about justice for anybody. And it's pretty sad.
Yeah, I think that's enough with the language for me, but for today. But I understand the frustration. I think you can get very frustrated following this. It's just so much, you know, it's for the same reason that jurors don't like when witnesses lie to you. You know, you feel manipulated. It's not a good feeling to be lied to. And it doesn't feel any better to be lied to by a defense team, even though you know it's their job. But you expect and sort of lie by omission, lie by sort of insinuation, or even lie outright with some of these attacks on anyone who doesn't want to say Karen Reed is innocent, doesn't want to join the Free Karen Reed movement. And we even know Karen Reed has distanced herself in her legal filings from Turtle Boy now and dropped him. So even the Free Karen Reed people can be dropped. So as soon as he became too much of a hot potato. All right, maybe we'll look at that Today Show interview some other time. Yeah, I think I would think that the Today Show is one of those shows that copyright strikes you, I would think. Which is why it's not being widely shared. That's been my, if I'm remembering correctly, but please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this episode. I'll be back tomorrow with another pre-Karen Reed episode, I think. Talk more about this before we head to trial Monday at 10. It's going to be very interesting. I'm really very curious to see what the defense is going to come up with. I feel like I already know what the prosecution is going to say. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a 5-star reviews. Thanks, Lou Lemaraco, for the super sticker. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.